Hey you guys, today we are going to draw a zebra. And I just really love the black and white contrast with this beautiful, just solid black background. Sorry, things are a little shaky right now. The desk is for some reason. Okay, so I really love the close-up look too, because then I think I can really get in there and get all of the stripes and those kinds of things. So we're gonna go over the shape of it. I'll probably get the stripes in there just to show you how to do that and the tufts of hair. For me, I will more than likely start with this side of the face because then I can see how big the rest of it needs to be. And I need to make sure it's close to the edge of the paper. But remember, when we draw, we want to break things down. So if I look at this, if I start here, it's like a gentle curve, right? So that, and then it comes up and there's like another little curve. And then it comes down, and then it comes in here. So really take the chance to stop and look at what you're drawing and just slow down, okay? So what does it look like? Where are the angles, the straight lines, the curves, those kinds of things? Don't look at it and be overwhelmed, because honestly, when I look at a zebra, I get overwhelmed, mostly because of the stripes, because holy moly, there are a million stripes, right? So when I am drawing, I will be moving the paper on and off so that you guys can see, but if I keep the paper on, then I don't have space to draw. So here we go, let's get started. So if we sort of look and see how far up this is on the page, I mean, it's like a good, almost 1/3 of the page, right? So if we just roughly, I do this a lot, I roughly measure that way. And then the other thing I do is I do like angles with my pencil. So I will hold it here and then go to my paper, come back, go to my paper. And it just really helps put in my mind where those angles are. All right, so roughly around 1/3, a little bit more or whatever. So if I take my page and I make it into 1/3, then it's gonna be start right around here-ish. All right, so again, with my angle, so I'm gonna, and I can always move this. Now when I start, I'm gonna start off a little sketchy. Sorry, I was just looking at where the eye is. Because that way it really helps me to draw lightly. But still making sure I've got these curves, right? That's a little too much on the end there, I think. It's sort of hard because I feel like there's a black stripe that's preventing my, yeah, so that would be pretty good there. It's preventing me from seeing. And again, this is gonna all be modified. So here's the bottom of the nose, and it comes in like this, and then it comes up. And if we look at where the neck is, it doesn't go all the way to the eye. So I know that I have to sort of stay down here a little bit. And I may, because this picture, if you look here, is skinnier than my paper. So I may have to, like right now, if I go any farther, it's gonna look weird. So I may have to just like cut off part of it, which is okay. And then we're gonna come up, and I'm gonna start with this little, like the mane here. Whoop, this table got like, I don't know, uneven over the weekend or something. And then we see that the ear is in. So if I go to where I started the head, I have to go down a little bit. So if I start the head, go down a little bit, in the ear. Goes like this, and then there's all that hair in there, which is going to be more of our shading. And then we've got the mane, or the back, I should say. Then you've got the mane, which I would sort of just draw the top part here. And actually, this is a little too fluffy. It gets a little bit fluffier out here, but doesn't start fluffy. Holy cow. Okay, Sorry, it's really annoying me that it's like that. All right, so I'm gonna come in here and erase. All right, so from here, I'm going to start drawing the eye. And when we look at it, it does have a nice sort of curve here and then goes like this. So, and then we've got a round dot in the middle. But you see how like these black lines are sort of messing with my shape here? I don't know. Maybe it comes, I can't tell if it comes to a point there or is round. Sort of the problem with the black background, right? So if I come up from the eye, it's not exactly in the middle, right? It's a little bit off to the side, sort of close to where this is. So that actually helps me a lot. Because if I come here and go straight down, it's right where that corner of that eye is. So that helps me determine where I should go. And then it's sort of, it's pretty straight across. That might be too big. There, that looks a little bit better. That looks like the angle there. And it's okay to have to start over. It's okay to mess up. And so I drew like the outline here. So we've got all of this inside, which means that the eyeball is not going to, like the ball of the eye is not going to touch everywhere because we've got all this extra stuff that we would add in with shading. Does that make sense? So you've got all of this under lid here that you wouldn't necessarily, that comes up here and actually comes up here like that. And it looks weird until we get shading on. And because there's a little bit here that's a little bit darker, like those kinds of things. So then I can come in here and erase my line. So from here, I mean, it's pretty much a shape, right? So from here, we need to add our stripes in. I don't really know the best way except for to start on the end, right? Because then I know how many to do, where to do them, those kinds of things. So I'm going to start at the end here. And I'm going to get close. So my paper line, I don't know if you guys can see, is here. So I'm going to just draw a line. So I'm going to get close right here. See how close that is? And then it does come like that. So I made that first line a little too thick here. Don't be afraid to make the lines, but then like see how that got skinny? Don't be afraid to make the lines thicker. And then it comes up like that. So we'll move over to the next one here. And it looks like the white lines are a little bit skinnier than the black lines, so that's something to be aware of. You can see that it gets skinnier in here, so I have to make sure I keep that. And right now, we're just sort of crossing our fingers that our proportions are what they're supposed to be, and that I'm doing the size of the stripes correctly, because we want to make sure we don't give this guy more stripes than necessary. But here's the other thing. As an artist, if you get to the point where you're like, holy cow, I need another stripe in here somewhere, you can totally do that, because all zebras have different stripes. They have different patterns. And the other thing is no one's gonna see, like if you add a stripe in, no one's gonna see this picture next to, actually this needs to come up here. This needs to be a little bit more curvy. No one's gonna see the picture next to your drawing, right? You're never gonna display the picture next to your drawing, those kinds of things. So that's always a good thing to remember, because I know sometimes our perfectionism gets the better of us and we want everything to look perfect, right? So I'm on, this is my black, and I'm actually gonna put a B in here so that I know. So I have 3 black, 1, 2, 3. So I'm on this 4th guy here. And these lines are really going to help, these stripes I should say, not lines. These stripes are really going to help with the structure of like getting us these nice 3-dimensional parts to the zebra, like getting it to look like it's round even without adding shading on, which is like super nice. So this stripe looks like it shifts and splits into 2 right around a little bit above the eye, so it would be right around there. So right now we're doing good with some proportions here. And this gets really skinny. If you notice, every time it comes, a lot of times when it comes up in the hair, there's like a little bit of a ridge here. So that's something to just pay attention to. So this is black and this is black. So now this one is gonna come here and go all the way down here. So it looks like my proportions are a little off on the bottom part here. And actually, after this stripe, I'm gonna come in and make a little line. But again, it's okay. It's okay. I know sometimes our perfectionism wants to get the better of us, but we have to sometimes just go with it. Black. All right, so now what I want to do, see how we can, now that we're really looking, we can see like the jawline of the zebra. So I'm gonna come in here, and from this stripe, yep, it like, you can sort of see this a little bit more within the stripes. All right, so now we just did that one. Now we're gonna do this little crazy guy here that sort of goes up and around the ear. So it does sort of come straight here. So I'm going to do this edge here because it does run pretty closely to what we just did, and that'll help me. It's getting a little too wide here, and that'll help me okay, sorry, just trying to figure out So I'm looking at this and my line down here is going to be a little bit, so I'm trying to figure out proportion wise where things should be in relationship. So I use, like, I'm using the eyeball right now. So in the eyeball gives us this open spot. So I think this needs to be higher here. Because this comes down here, and this is where that open spot is. So then that would mean that this, there we go. That's a little bit better. Comes down. So it's always nice to use your, like, reference points that are already in there, because then it can really help you know what you're doing. Oops, sorry, my head bumped this. And then there's another little stripe up here. So just putting the little bees in there so that I know where I need to go. Because once this is done, it's going to be confusing on where the black and the white are. So it is sort of fun to do all these little stripes though, because again, they don't have to be perfect. And my perfectionism brain sort of lets it go a little bit. Because if you tried to be perfect, you literally would drive yourself nuts. So we're just getting the shapes of things down. And this stripe, just checking my angle, comes all the way down and actually stops. Remember, all stripes aren't like perfectly straight. That's a little thick there. So it's okay if like you make it a little bit more wavy or a little bit straighter. And then we've got this lovely little black spot in here. Black, I'm gonna put it up here too, black. Okay, so next I need to do, see now I'm getting confused. And I think I may have made my stripes a little too wide because I've got to fit another stripe in here around the eye. I think it's important to get the stripes around the eyes because those are very particular to that certain zebra. Is a lot of their face coloring is what separates them from others. So you really need to make sure that we're getting these in here, but then like right now I'm sort of like, what am I gonna do? Because like I can fit all this, but then comes this stripe here, right? That I guess is just gonna be skinnier than what it's supposed to be. See, it can be really skinny against that. So this one actually curves around here and comes here a little bit. And you may be looking at this and be like, oh no, she didn't get things exactly right. And you're right. And maybe what I need to do is bring this out a little bit more, actually. Because I've got a couple more stripes I need to do. And again, sometimes as we go along, it means we need to adjust and pivot and sort of move things. So that means that the eye then needs to be moved over as well. Sorry for the shaking. So I still have a little bit of that line there, so I know. And then remember, the circle on the inside didn't cover everything. So that might give us a little bit more space here. But then I moved it over because all these little lines here, there, that's where that little doohickey is, and it comes up actually, this comes here. And it's really skinny. So I'm going to come back up to the top here, then we'll do the lines on the bottom. Back up to the top. So there is this skinny white part. So this is black. I'm already losing track. I gotta mark my blacks. I think this needs to be moved over. All right, so I didn't get it perfect, right? I feel like I got this line here and this line here, but I don't know if there's another spot there that I should have gotten. So we're gonna come back around and do the bottom part here. So for me, I'm gonna keep with these stripes. So I have this connects down here, and it's a skinny stripe, so I just might make it a little bit of a thicker line here. And then there's another one comes here, and there's another one that sort of looks like it connects. And it looks like the black here sort of goes up and down in between. We've got another line that it's connected to, so we could come up here. Okay. So the black on the nose. And again, some of this, like this isn't exactly white, but it's gray, so we're just gonna not color that in, just so that we, and maybe the black, there we go. And you can always adjust it. Like if I don't like this shape here. So when I start shading, I can see exactly what I'm gonna need to do. Right, when I start shading, I can say, okay, like the black needs to come up a little bit here from the nose, you know, those kinds of things. There is the mouth in here, so I'm gonna just draw a line. All right, and then we're gonna we're almost done with the stripes here. And I know I have not done them perfectly, because look at the space there and look at my space. It's definitely not as much, so again, perfectionism has to sort of go out the window, no matter how much it drives me nuts, right? This is black, black. Oh, I see, I need to change that. I just noticed that. Sort of starts to come around the under. Oh, and there's a little guy here. What's this one? Sorry, I lost track of where I was here for a second. Two more stripes. Thank you for being patient and staying with me. I could speed up this video, but I feel like you can sort of see all my mess ups, and hopefully it makes you feel a little bit better about some of yours, because I'm not perfect, and you can see. So here's my zebra. Oh, I forgot to add, I was just looking, I forgot to add these stripes up here. There we go. So there we go. Zebra, zebra. Not perfect, but again, with zebras, oh, and I forgot some of these. Look at me. These stripes, see, I'm telling you, these stripes sort of throw you off when you start going, because then you realize like how, and some of this might be just like done with some shadow in here. So yeah. Zebra, zebra, pretty easy, but I will say take your time, start from one side with the stripes and go to the other side. It'll make it a whole lot easier, and you may have to throw some of your imperfections out the door when you do these.